Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to Coffee and Headlines, our morning get-together live here on Facebook, where we take a look at news, headlines from our city, from our state, from our country. We take a look at things that we learn about our destination, Puerto Vallarta, the place where we live, and how to best take advantage of all this information to enrich our lives as a community of English-speaking locals. How's that for an introduction? Today is Tuesday, June 29th. And it is a pleasure to get together with you. And we have interesting news to share today. Some of them have to do with Hurricane Henry and what happened, and if anything happened. Some of them have to do with the legalization of cannabis in our country, a visit that Governor Alfaro made to the president of our country, and other interesting tidbits. So we're going to dive into, and yes, of course, we have Taco Tuesday. What am I forgetting here? And let's see, what we're going to do today is first, I would like to, as always, invite you to let us know. If you're new to the broadcast, let us know by writing the word new in your comments. If you have something super important that you wish to bring up during the conversation today, which takes place in the second half of the broadcast, please add the letter Q at the beginning of your comment. And before we move in, with your permission, I would like to test the functionality of a feature on Facebook Live that we've used only once, I think. And quite frankly, I don't remember how it works and if it will work for us for this important Thursday broadcast that we're going to have in a couple of days. So I am going to, if all goes well, I'm putting a question on your screen. All I want for Christmas is. So what I want to hear from you is, well, what do you want for Christmas? I want to know that you're able to see the card. And if you're not able to see the card, let me know. Of course, because I'm broadcasting, I'm not able to see things the way you see them. So your feedback is very much appreciated. So I'm going to leave that open, and I'm going to dive into the news, and we'll come back and revisit the question in a little while. Okay, first, of course, we want to talk about Hurricane Enrique. It is now moving away from Puerto Vallarta without major incident. It is heading north, of course, northwest, towards the Maria Islands and Los Cabos, and of course also Mazatlan. Brett, if you're watching, yes, you are watching, please make sure that you take all the necessary precautions. All we saw of the hurricane in our city, fortunately, was higher than usual waves and scattered rain. Other locations south of Banderas Bay were unfortunately not so fortunate. And now, of course, we have nothing to do other than to wait for the next tropical storm to develop and find out whether it grows into a hurricane and find out where it's headed. Between now and then, we continue to count our blessings. Now let's talk about this business of pot. Since 2019, Mexico's Congress has been waffling about the legality of cannabis use in our country. Congress has asked for 3 deadline extensions. We've covered most of them to agree on a law that would allow people like you and I to enjoy cannabis at home, or for folks to open dispensaries and such, or people to start growing the plant for commercial uses. Unfortunately, this hasn't happened. In light of this, the Supreme Court declared yesterday that the law that currently prohibits the use of cannabis for recreational use in Mexico is unconstitutional. This, of course, does not mean that you can legally consume it now. It means that you can obtain a permit, get this, a permit that allows you to grow your own plants at home and consume at your leisure with certain restrictions. Also, there are no licenses for production or agricultural development of the plant. This will be the case until Congress is able to make up their minds on whether we can or we cannot use the darn thing. It is worth mentioning that the first attempt to legislate cannabis use for recreational purposes in Mexico took place back in 2015, and medical use was approved in 2017. Now, in plain English, what does this mean? Well, the Supreme Court said to Mexico's Congress, you can't make up your mind, you fools, so we'll come up with a temporary solution until you do. So, does this change anything for you and me? You and I? You and me? You and I? Does this change anything? Well, not particularly. If the way this is going to be implemented, I think, is that I'm going to be able to go to COFEPRIS, which is the federal dependency that takes care of these kinds of permits, and apply for permission to consume and grow weed in my own home. And they're going to grant me that permission, or maybe not. I have no idea what the requisites are. And then I can continue doing what I've been doing all along. So we're going to wait to see how this unfolds. President Lopez Obrador has said, well, it is what it is. Since Congress was not able to come up with a law, we're going to see how this flies. If it becomes problematic, we're definitely going to step in. So I don't have any specific information about this just yet, but I did want to follow up on it since we talked about it yesterday. Moving right along, I want to let you know that Jalisco Governor Enrique Alfaro met with our president at the National Palace in Mexico City to discuss important topics such as water shortages, security issues, public transportation, and highway infrastructure, aka what the hell is happening with our highway from from Guadalajara. On his Facebook page, the good governor indicated that the meeting was cordial and productive and that all the agreements will be detailed and finalized this coming Tuesday. This is good news for our state, I certainly hope. In other news, now that former Nayarit Governor Roberto Sandoval is behind bars due to money laundering, among other charges, Mexico's federal prosecutor's office is now in the process of confiscating a series of properties unlawfully acquired by Sandoval between 2012 and 2017, currently valued at 222.9 million pesos. This is roughly half of the estimated cost of the upcoming popular consultation we discussed yesterday on whether ex-presidents of Mexico should be tried for unlawful practices before, during, or after their presidential terms. The article goes on to outline details of the properties, but what sticks with me is if a governor of our country, if a governor of a state was able to amass this kind of wealth, can you imagine what our ex-presidents have done? And that is what we have for news. Let me take a quick look at what happened with this card. I think what I have to do, if you'll indulge me, is close the card. And where the hell do I see the answers? There are the answers. Okay, cool, cool. And I can even display these if I want. For example, if I put this card, did that show up? Did I just put a card on your screen and can you see it? I certainly hope so. Um, but what I may not do on Thursday. Well, okay, now I'm thinking to myself, okay, now I know that this works. Now let me find out if I can do another card in the same broadcast. So I just want to double check that this is going to work. I am now opening another card that says, my favorite Mexican food dish is fill in the blank. So I just want to make sure that this is operational the way it's supposed to be. Um, Now let's see what else we have. Let me check on my notes to see what follows. And right now, I want to make a public service announcement. This exercise has to do with our special broadcast that we're going to do this coming Thursday. And if you have forgotten what that is about, check out what I did yesterday. Hey there, it's Paco from Coffee and Headlines. It's great to see you, and today I have a very special announcement that I'd like to share with you. If you've been watching our broadcasts, which we produce every day except for Sunday in the mornings, you know that we have specific themes that we address on certain days, like we have Taco Tuesdays, in which we go exploring different taco restaurants around the city. We also have Walking Wednesdays, where we go and share walking tours of different neighborhoods around the city, and that's precisely what we're doing right now. But we're starting a new feature for Thursdays. It's called Food for Thought Thursdays. What is this going to be about? Well, it's going to be about commenting or talking about important issues that affect us here living in Puerto Vallarta as a community of English-speaking locals. And what we're going to discuss this coming Thursday is live theater in English. Are you a fan of live theater? Have you been missing live theater in Puerto Vallarta? Well, we want to hear your thoughts about live theater. And by live theater, I don't mean shows or musicals or drag or live music and all that stuff. We're going to focus specifically on live theater, whether it's serious theater, funny theater, but theater. Where is it? Why is it that we don't see as much live theater in English in Puerto Vallarta as we see live theater in Spanish? Why is it that live theater in Spanish has taken off more successfully than live theater in English? So, if you enjoy theater or have enjoyed theater in other cities, this will be our opportunity to share our points of view and talk about this and provide the theater producers in town with some idea of what it is that we as an audience are interested in watching and enjoying. So if you have nothing better to do on Thursday morning, please join us live 10:30 in the morning on Facebook. You know where to find us. And hopefully you'll have some interesting comments about your own experience with live theater in Puerto Vallarta, or lack of thereof, as a member of the audience. I hope to see you there. Okay, so that is a public service announcement. I see your comments on the hat. I will tell the story of the hat shortly. Let's see what else I want to do here. Let me close the Mexican food dish card, and let me take a look at some of your answers, and I can see your answers, and this is all good. Let me explain to you why I'm doing the card thing versus the comments, etc., etc. I'm sincerely hoping that Thursday's discussion of live theater in English in Puerto Vallarta will be loaded with honesty, with not offensive comment if it comes to it, but useful feedback that producers can use. And some of you, I realize, may feel uncomfortable making public statements like the comments that you make on the screen, because then everybody will know what you said when you said it. I can do the cards, and I can read your remarks from the cards and honor your privacy by not saying who is behind the comments. Um, but ultimately, what we want to do is to have a lively discussion, a straightforward, honest, but kind discussion on live theater in Puerto Vallarta in English. Where is it? Why is it? Why it isn't? And so forth and so on. So I'm still going through the show. I'm going to look at your feedback in a moment. Let me give you two additional news items that I want to share with you before we get into Taco Tuesday and your comments. The first one has to do with noise. The city of Guadalajara takes noise seriously, or at least more seriously than our municipal government, apparently. An individual, a person living in Colonia Santa Eduviges in Guadalajara, was just fined 44,810 pesos for making excessive noise at home, in his business. We don't know. The way the anti-noise law works in Guadalajara is you make a call, authorities come and measure the noise level. If it goes above the allowed 55 decibels, a report is made giving the person 30 minutes to turn it down. If they don't, or if enough reports are generated for a single individual, then the fines are applied. If this individual does not pay the fines, they are attached to the perpetrator's SAT, or tax information. And this means that if you're a landlord and one of your tenants is being fined, then as a landlord, you inherit the debt. So if he or she doesn't get that gets fined, doesn't pay, the landlord ends up having to pay for it. Here in Puerto Vallarta, it probably doesn't work quite as beautifully as it does in Guadalajara. I know this firsthand because we, as in all of us that live in my block, happen to endure a particularly noisy neighbor. And I've made comments about this. Our next door neighbor decided at some point that his boombox is his gift to the whole block. And I know that I'm not the only person that at one point or another suffers from excessive noise in our neighborhoods through parties and this, that, and the other. I can only hope that the upcoming administration will take noise problems in our city more seriously. So this is a little bit of a commentary of what Guadalajara is doing and what we're not doing here. In the last news item that I have for you, as we announced a few days ago, members of the local Vallarta Azteca folkloric dance troupe are now headed to Moscow to represent Mexico in the upcoming 6th World Folk Summit to take place this coming week. How exciting is that? 37 members of the dance troupe left our city yesterday and will remain in Russia for 11 days, bonding with representatives from 51 other countries. I think that is so awesome. And I hope to, talk to someone who knows someone so that we can talk to someone from the group and find out what their adventure was like when they return. Now, let me quickly dive into Taco Tuesday, because yesterday was before I dive into Taco Tuesday, as you saw, I did a public services announcement for this coming Thursday. I did it as I was walking yesterday to Licks, so our Walking Wednesday tomorrow will be my walk to Licks. As promised, I got to meet the new member of the household at Todd and Kathleen's home. And yes, Paco did see Nama yesterday. As Kathleen says, Nama loves Paco and vice versa. You'll get to meet this wonderful little pooch tomorrow during our walk. Of course, you already know what the walk is going to be, but you don't know the path that I actually took between my home and Licks in Fluvial. So there's a little bit of new street stuff, and there's some streets that we've already visited, but I certainly hope you will enjoy the walk. And now, let's talk about Taco Tuesday, because today is Tuesday, and we had yet another taqueria or taco place that we had featured before here in our neighborhood. I must confess that given the hurricane thing, I did not want to venture all over the city in case something crazy happened. So I ended up going to one of the last, or I believe the last restaurant in Versalles for foodies that we haven't talked about, which is La Parrilla de Villa. Here it is. Let me put it over here so that I can control my presentation. And I think we're good to go. And La Parrilla de Villa is a small neighborhood taqueria located on Brazil Street, just off Vienna. It is 1 block away from the Conalep, and it is right behind my house. I could even yell orders at them. Tacos dorados, por favor, from my window, from my bedroom window. They used to be located on Vienna Street, but they relocated to this quiet street, and they have been there for some time. And it is a very comfortable indoor-outdoor space. So if you're concerned about being inside, this would be a good restaurant for you to try. They have a special area for kids. The words in the back say, "Children, look after your parents," which is quite funny. There's a whole series of interesting messages painted on the wall at this taco place, and I'm going to show some of them to you. Well, I'm going to show only one more, but it's a really interesting one, I should say. A nice feature at this taco place is they start you with a nice order of frijoles de olla, or whole Mexican beans. You can choose to enjoy these beans on their own, or you can choose to add them to your tacos or quesadillas or whatever it is that you order. Boom, beam, boom. Let me see. Another thing that they start you with, which is lovely, is doraditas, which are these plain corn tortillas that are browned. The word doradita or dorada, or the act of dorar, means to brown. It means to put a piece of meat or something in oil until it reaches this golden brown color. The beautiful thing about doraditas is that they are not fried. They're simply toasted. So it is a misnomer. When you name something that doesn't make sense, it is not an accurate name to call them doraditas, because they're not doraditas in oil. They're simply burnt until they're crunchy. And the good thing about this is that eating burnt until they're crunchy tortillas is less fattening than eating the tostadas or tortilla chips that you usually get at a restaurant. If you're watching your weight, you can always ask the restaurant, Mexican restaurant, do you have fried or simply doradas? And if they have doradas, then you can choose the doradas and think that you're not gaining as much weight. At least that's the way I think. Anyhow, and of course, the restaurant serves the usual array of salsas that are either spicy or not so spicy. And I happen to enjoy a delicious mango water, or agua de mango, when I was at the restaurant. And my order consisted of one taco arriero. Arriero tacos are tacos that feature different kinds of meat, including chorizo. They can also have carne asada, carne adobada. And I also ordered, although we're here for Taco Tuesday, I must say that the quesadillas at this restaurant are absolutely out of this world. And I deliberately photographed this quesadilla with a fork next to it so that you can get a sense as to the size of their quesadillas. They are, made with cheese, of course, and you can choose a different kind of meat to go inside of the quesadilla, and you can choose asada or adobada, the usual combinations. And they're huge. They're huge. So that's the reason why I only ordered one taco and one quesadilla, because actually one quesadilla is more than enough of a meal if you consider the size of it. So, and another nice thing about this particular taco place is that they also serve individual meat cuts, which you can buy by the kilo, pre-cooked and prepared, so you can take them home and so forth and so on. So it is a great little neighborhood taco place that I recommend if you are in this neighborhood. And yes, las cebollas look yummy, and the grilled onions are served with every order that you get. And last but not least, I wanted to show you this notice, which I found painted on the wall at the restaurant. We see the words "Hoy me voy a poner hasta la," and then we see a silhouette of a nun under that. What does that mean? Well, in this case, the nun is a mother, like Mother Superior or Mother Abigail or whatever, you know. And the phrase "Hoy me voy a poner hasta la madre" or mother means that today I'm going to get totally shit faced. So, needless to say, the restaurant encourages alcohol consumption. But this is yet another one of those colloquial, popular phrases that we use in Spanish. Hoy me voy a poner hasta la madre, or hasta la madre is shit faced. So if you ever see somebody in a bar or a party and they seem to be rather tipsy, you can always elbow your friend and turn around, hasta la madre. Or you can impress your Spanish instructor with this new phrase that we have just discussed. And that brings us to the end of our formal broadcast. Let me now rewind, and take a look at all your comments and suggestions. Again, I'm going to read through your comments regarding whether you could see the comment card, the question card or not. Ultimately, what I'm trying to do is to figure out a way to protect your privacy if you have a loaded comment to make about topics that we discuss on Thursdays, or invite you to make your comments as kindly but honestly, without being offensive, as possible. Am I assuming that it's going to get offensive on Thursday when we talk about live theater? Well, not necessarily, but I mean, there's certain things that as members of the audience, I have not seen in Puerto Vallarta, and as a member of the audience, I want to see in Puerto Vallarta. So I wonder how you feel about that, and that's what Thursday is going to be all about. We will have our regular set of news, and then we'll quickly jump into live theater. But now I see a lot of good mornings. Thank you very much. What a beautiful day to be alive. I'll drink to that, trucha. Thank you very much for that beautiful thought. John wonders if Enrique will come and visit in Anaheim. I certainly hope that is not the case. Let's see. Great wishes from Michael Buford, whom I bumped into at Costco yesterday. It was a pleasure to run into you, Michael, and it's just a pleasure. Oh, it was such a pleasure also to visit with Kathleen and Todd. You'll get to see a behind the scenes tomorrow on Todd making his ice cream. That'll be a lot of fun. At least it was a lot of fun for me. Dan says, Kathy has gotten me hooked on the Tour de France. Fun stage today. Just don't get hooked on the spandex shorts like I did, Dan, because then it'll change your whole sexual orientation and it gets messy. But do get hooked on the race. It's really exciting once you understand how the different teams work together. Or maybe, hey, if spandex floats your boat, who am I to stop you? Let's see what else we have. Brett remarks from Mazatlan, it's very rainy. Again, I certainly hope that the path of the hurricane does not affect the city of Mazatlan very adversely. Actually, any city. Marijuana tacos. Well, yeah, I've been there. They're wonderful. Marijuana tacos. Angelica Vargas asks, how can that affect the cartel business? I honestly, and this is a very uneducated answer, Angelica, I think the cartel business has already moved past marijuana, and they have moved on to other more sophisticated drugs like fentanyl and so forth and so on. I mean, and that's what's going to happen. I mean, if marijuana gets legalized in Mexico, the cartels are simply going to move to other drugs. Until something more important or powerful happens within the country as far as the unspoken relationships between the cartel and our government. But again, this is just a very, very amateur guess on my part. Sherry keeps freezing. I'm so glad that you finally got some cool weather in your neighborhood. No, I'm just kidding. Seriously, I hope it is a temporary glitch. Um, let's see what else. Jorge says, "What the fuck parrot time?" We'll save that for a few days. I don't think we have a what the fuck parrot incident just yet. Um, Stephanie says, "My audio keeps going out. Please check your cable connections if it comes to that. If not, I certainly hope that it's an isolated thing." Matthew posts a beautiful Christmas present wish. I That would be a wonderful wish. How fun it would be to be in Puerto Vallarta in December without wearing masks. We know what we have to do to make this happen. Just keep following the guidelines. Some of you saw the cards, some of you didn't see the cards. I'm taking note of that. Again, I'm looking for comfortable solutions so that we can express our feedback on loaded topics without feeling like, oh my God, I really don't feel comfortable exposing myself. Or maybe we should learn to be comfortable exposing our true opinions as long as we're able to share them in a kind way. Let's see what else we have. Gary posts a helpful tip. If the card does not appear, there's a purple question mark next to the comment box before the emojis. You can click that to see the card, at least on my phone. Thank you for that, Gary. Again, I realized that the Facebook experience is different from one device to another, and all we're trying to do is trying to find a way to create as much of a dynamic conversation as possible, given the constraints of this particular format of being live and so forth and so on. Kathleen asks, speaking of theater, does Guadalajara have Broadway theater shows when there's no pandemic? Yes, you can see some amazing productions in Guadalajara. These are usually productions that come from Mexico City, of big, important musicals in Spanish, of course. You don't see big Broadway productions in Mexico in English, and that's just the nature of the beast. But if you, for example, what was it? There was a show. Oh, there was a production of Jesus Christ Superstar that was. It was a revival, of course, that was being presented in Guadalajara a couple of years ago, and I really wanted to go, and then the pandemic came and so forth and so on. But yes, when we're not having to concern ourselves with a pandemic, yes, there are Broadway type shows in Guadalajara. Paco, you need to knit a thing for your hat like the one for your mask, so the wind can't blowing down the street. Ah, the hat. So I was at Plaza Caracol the other day and I saw this Panama hat. And how could I resist a hat with orange and green motifs? I mean, I simply couldn't. So there you have it. It was too expensive, but no, it was not too expensive. But it was what it was. It makes me happy. Let's see what else we have. More feedback on the cards. Thank you very much. I will take a look at all this feedback. And try to figure out the most efficient way to do this on Thursday. Dina asked, did I get to see Nama yesterday? I think we answered that question. You will get to see Nama tomorrow morning. She's adorable. Oh my God, what a cute little doggy. Let's see what else we have. Loud noises are even worse with hearing aids. Can't live with them, can live without them. I hear you. Alain loves La Parrilla de Villa, and that makes two of us. Christine makes a funny comment on the little kitty section in the restaurant, toys and kegs that keeps the kids busy. Well, actually, if you look at the photo closely, and I'm going to put it back on the screen, the kegs are used as stools. Here we go. There it is. Yes, there are kegs back there, but the kegs are being used they're repurposed as stools. So no, it's not like the kids are drinking themselves while their parents are enjoying tacos. Palomas 2 for 1 written in sign at the Parrilla de Villa. Do they mean the actual birds or popcorn? They mean neither. Paloma is a cocktail that involves, if I believe, grapefruit soda with tequila. That is a paloma, unless I'm corrected. Thank you very much, Karen. You must be an expert. Tequila, grapefruit, and soda. There you go. It's a grapefruit tequila drink. I remember having those, I think. And if I don't remember correctly, it's probably because I enjoyed them and I had too many of them. Who knows? Let's see what else. Stephanie says cholesterol medications, which is another way to look at those tacos. Yes, I love it. Where is it on your map? It is not on the Taco Tuesday map just yet, but I will publish it on the Taco Tuesday map today or tomorrow at the latest. But you can find it at the Versailles for Foodies. Earl is watching from Boston. It's great to see you, my dear friend. Yes, small steps and hopefully in the right direction about the legalizing marijuana. Michelle laughs at my spandex shorts comment. Girl, let me tell you, they're a beautiful thing. Let's see what else we have. There have been articles written about how the cartels have even moved on to trafficking avocados as they have proven to be much more lucrative than pot. And this is no joke. I believe that. I totally believe that. And Lynn confirms this. How crazy this world is. Avocados. Cartels moving avocados. Isn't that just... I think David has put it quite accurately. It sounds like a guac of shit. Okay, that was funny. Let's see. Lynn says if opera can be understood, then I think I could enjoy musicals in Spanish. Well, particularly if it's musicals that you're familiar with. I think it is a good thing. Oh, Karen is a bartender. That's why she knows what palomas are. Well, that is absolutely wonderful. And this, of course, brings us to the end of Coffee and Headlines for Tuesday. I hope you have had a good time. I hope you enjoyed our Taco Tuesday adventure, and I thank you for the feedback you've given me about how to collect information from you this coming Thursday. I think what we're going to end up doing is ask a series of questions and just ask you to deliver short, honest, kind answers so that we can have some points of reference to share among ourselves. Again, the ultimate goal of this exercise for Food for Thought Thursday is that we can provide producers of live theater in Puerto Vallarta with some information about what it is that would actually move us to attend these performances, and assuming that those people that tune in on Thursday enjoy live theater, and that's the general idea. Between now and then, we're of course going to be back tomorrow with Walking Wednesday, and the usual: stay kind, stay happy, stay well fed, stay safe and healthy, and last but not least, stay in touch. And I will see you soon.